Okay everyone, let's continue looking at Module 26108-23, Wireways, Raceways, and Fittings in the NCCER 11th edition. This will be Section 2.00, Fasteners and Anchors for Raceway Systems. Using zip ties. Zip ties are used to fasten a bundle of wires and cables together. Caution: do not over-tight any wrap or cable tie as it may result in electrical interference and or damage to the cable. Using bolts and screws. Bolts and screws are made in a variety of shapes and sizes for different fastening jobs. Caution: always follow the manufacturer's recommendations to select the right fastener for the job. Wood screws. Wood screws are used to fasten materials to wood or structures. They have more holding power than nails. Using lag screws and shields. Lag screws are heavy-duty wood screws that provide greater holding power. Lag shields are needed when fastening to concrete. Washers are needed if the head will rest directly on the wood. Using concrete/masonry screws. Concrete/masonry screws do not need an anchor. Screws are driven directly into pre-drilled holes. Widely spread threads provide a tight friction fit. Using thread forming and thread cutting screws. Sheet metal screws are made of hard metal and form a thread as they are driven in. It is important to use the proper size bit when drilling pilot holes. Using drywall screws. Drywall screws are thin and self-drilling. They cut through the wallboard and anchor into wood or metal studs. Using drive screws. Drive screws are hammered into a drilled or punched hole. They are used to fasten parts that do not have much pressure. Hammer-driven pins and studs. Hammer-driven pins or threaded studs are used to fasten wood or steel to concrete or block. The pins or studs are driven into a concrete block without the need for pre-drilled holes. Safety requirements for stud-type guns. Stud-type guns are powered by powder, gas, or spring power and used to drive special fasteners into masonry or steel. Training and licensing is needed to operate powder-ox-weighted tools. One-step anchors. One-step anchors are installed through the mounting holes in the components to be fastened. The anchor and the drilled hole have to be the same diameter. Bolt anchors. Bolt anchors are installed flush with the surface of the base material. They are used with threaded machines, bolts, or screws. Screw anchors. Screw anchors are lighter duty anchors that are installed flush with the surface of the base material. Fiber and plastic anchors are typically used in concrete and masonry. Plastic anchors are mostly used in wallboard. Self-drilling anchors. Self-drilling anchors have a cutting sleeve that is used as a drill bit and then it becomes the expandable fastener. The anchor's expander plug causes the fastener to expand and lock into the hole. Drilling anchor holes in hardened concrete or masonry. Step 1. Drill the bolt hole the same size as the anchor bolt. Drive the anchor bolt into the hole using a hammer. Step 3. Put a washer and nut on the bolt and tighten until the anchor is secure. Hollow wall anchors. Hollow wall anchors are used when fastening to hollow materials, such as concrete plank, block, structural steel, wallboard, or plaster. Installing toggle bolts. Toggle bolts have a bolt or screw and spring-loaded wings. The wings are passed through a pre-drilled hole and spring apart inside the hollow wall or ceiling to provide a firm hold. Installing sleeve-type wall anchors. Sleeve-type anchors are suitable for use in concrete, block, plywood, wallboard, hollow tile, and similar material. Standard types requires a mounting hole to be drilled. Drive type do not require a mounting hole. Installing wallboard and metal drive and anchors. Wallboard and anchors are self-drilling medium and light-duty anchors. Metal drive and anchors are used with light to medium loads and are hammered into the wall. Epoxy anchoring systems. Epoxy resin compounds can be used to anchor threaded rods and dowels in solid concrete, hollow wall, and brick. Once mixed, epoxy has a limited working time. Mix exactly what you need and work quickly. There are no trade terms for this session, but we do have some review questions for this session. It is recommended that zip ties that will be used outdoors are white, yellow, releasable, resistant to UV light. And that's going to be resistant to UV light. Which of the following is true regarding screw gauges and shank sizes? The lower the gauge number, the larger the diameter of the shank. The lower the gauge number, the longer the length of the shank. The higher the gauge number, the larger the diameter of the shank. The higher the gauge number, the larger the length of the shank. That's going to be C. The higher the gauge number, the larger the diameter of the shank. When installing hammer drive pins and studs, the pre-drilled holes should be slightly smaller than the pin or stud. The pre-drilled holes should be the same size as the pin or stud. The pre-drilled holes should be slightly larger than the pin or stud, or there is no need to pre-drill a hole. I think that's going to be D. There is no need to pre-drill a hole. When using a powder ox weighted tool, post warning signs within 50 feet of use. Power level 12 is the lowest. Color codes are often used to indicate the manufacturer. All those are interchangeable among makes and models. I think it's going to be post warning signs within 50 feet of use. A type of fastener that uses the anchor itself as a drill bit is a wedge anchor, a stud anchor, a one-piece anchor, or a self-drilling anchor. And that's going to be a self-drilling anchor. A type of fastener with spring-loaded wings is a toggle bolt, a sleeve-type anchor, drive-type anchor, or a stud anchor. It'll be a toggle bolt. Epoxy anchoring systems are commonly used to anchor fasteners in wood, wallboard, plaster, or brick. And that's going to be brick. Alright everyone, that was it for that session. The next session will be 3.00 wireways and other specialty raceways, and I'll see you over there.